Should we spend $30,000 to put in a deck over here on this entry-level home? I just purchased this long-term rental property and we're going to completely renovate it and make it a dream home. But one of the key decisions we're trying to make is whether to put in this deck. And throughout this before walkthrough, I'm going to tell you the pros and cons, and you are going to help me make this call. These stairs going to the front entrance definitely have seen better days. There are missing parts and broken pieces, and then as you get to the landing right by the front door, you see that the stairs are leaning away from the house and there are pieces that have broken off and the rebars showing. So it's a big safety hazard that we have to address. And then this front door is solid, which is good, but there are these traditional patterns that we just can't really salvage it. So we would have to replace this door. So let's check out the inside. For a small house like this, the living room is quite spacious. There's popcorn ceiling and wood paneling on the walls that we have to remove. And this focal point of a fireplace is super chunky and ugly. So we have to dress it up somehow. And then we have very dirty and gross carpet, and we probably would do the usual thing, so replace all the flooring inside with new vinyl floors. This big window is so nice. It really lets in so much natural light. But wait, what is this pencil taped up here for? But all jokes aside, there's currently no way of getting to the backyard from the living space. You would have to go down the garage and from the garage side door to go to the backyard. But that's no way to entertain guests. So if we replace this window with a slider and put in a deck with stairs from the deck to go down to the backyard, then you would connect the indoor and outdoor living seamlessly. And if we remove this tree in front, we even have a view that's so beautiful. But that's only one side of the problem. We're going to have to talk about the rest when we get to the backyard. Right next to the living room is a very big and bright dining room. But in contrast, the kitchen is very small and dim and enclosed. We really want to give an emphasis to the kitchen because this is where a lot of the daily activity and entertaining happens. So we probably want to push this peninsula out so we can give it more space. On top of that, I noticed some features that are quite interesting, like this front door knocker handle that doesn't really knock, and it doesn't give enough leverage to open the door, so it's really difficult to open. So that's something we definitely want to change. And then there's a big gap between the cabinet and the wall, so it's a waste of space. And then these cabinets are way taller than the other cabinets, so it's not very aesthetically pleasing. And then also we have a big fridge that's regular sized and a wall oven. Neither of these is really small kitchen friendly, so we probably want to put in a counter depth fridge and also use some combo appliances like a microwave that doubles as a vent hood and also a range that combines the oven and the cooktop. So that would save a lot of space and make this kitchen way more useful. This guest bathroom is quite busy with paneling from wall to wall, and the style doesn't really match the rest of the house. This vanity is also very old school. It has this one-piece countertops and sink combo, and I'm not really sure why those drawers have to be inset and they're so small. So we definitely want to replace everything, and especially this dangly thing that's probably a turn on of the fan. Let's see if it still works. Oh, it does. This is the first bedroom. We have popcorn ceiling and no ceiling light, so we definitely want to put in one. And then we have a lot of marks on the walls that have to be patched and repaint, and then we definitely need to replace the carpet. And this window is where we can actually get a little view because it's between the trees. So this is kind of what we can expect once we remove that tree in front of the living room window and install a deck. The second bedroom is quite dark and it has similar scope of work, but because this tree is blocking the natural light, it feels way dim, so a ceiling light would help a lot. But we have these makeshift windowsill slash desk, but it's really not very strong and not very safe. The primary bedroom is slightly bigger and more bright, which is cool. And we have similar scope of work in here, but in the bathroom, it's kind of interesting. It's pretty wide in here, but this vanity is so tiny. It's one of the smallest I've ever seen, but I'm not sure why they put a shelf in here. So probably they need more space to set stuff on, but if that's the case, why don't they just use a bigger vanity where there's more counter space? So that's definitely something that we're going to work on. And then we're going to get all these square shower tiles and also the ugly floor tiles. So it's going to be a nice addition to the primary bedroom. These stairs lead to the room downstairs, but they are so wavy and the carpet is falling apart. So we want to replace these with new vinyl steps. There are windows on both sides, so they bring in good natural light. But these shelves are so ugly and the wood paneling's very outdated. We want to remove both, and we also want to remove this lip thing and make the wall smooth and flush so it doesn't feel like a basement anymore. Once we put in new ceiling light, it will be very bright and inviting and a great family room. From the garage side door, we get to the backyard, and immediately you see this makeshift awning that's really sketchy, and we definitely have to remove it so it's not a safety hazard. And then there's some dry rot on the trim that needs to be repaired. And then we have a very good sized patio that's going to be nice because we can save the money. And then I'm really pleasantly surprised that on this hilly part, we have a pretty flat backyard. So it makes it easy to really dress it up with sod. We can also make the yard feel even bigger by removing a lot of these overgrown plants and use mulch and smaller plants to make it really pretty. So this is the back of the living room and where the potential deck would go. First thing, if we were to build this deck, we would have to remove this tree, which would cost about a few $100s, which is a very small expense compared to the actual building cost of the deck, which runs $30,000. It's about 15% of the total renovation cost, so it's a lot. That doesn't even account for the permit fees, which would run a few $1,000s, and the additional time it would take. For a permit of this type of structural work, it usually takes about 3 to 6 months to get the permits approved, so that means additional holding cost. I really am not sure whether this investment would get its return. But at the same time, this deck would connect the living room with the backyard, which would be really useful, and it's a big plus. So that's why I'm stuck in this decision. This front yard has a lot of overgrown plants and also dead grass. I can imagine that at one point they were probably pretty attractive, but now it's just getting out of control. So we definitely need to trim a lot of those, remove some and replace them with smaller plants. We could also possibly put some grass in this area and add more color. Then in terms of the building structure, the garage doors are just too old. They have to be replaced. All the windows are single pane, so they have to go as well. A big difference that we can make is to repaint the exterior so that we can give the house a fresh look. Let's get to the numbers. I purchased this house for $900,000 and we plan to put about $200,000 into the renovation, and the estimated after repair value is 1.3. Both of these do not include the cost or the potential profit of the deck. Let me know what you guys think because I'm still pondering on that. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.